watching me pull up across the room. I can see it for you. It's not intentional, I'm not responsible. I never played a game, but if it's in my face, I don't make it easy for you. Everyone is an option, I don't think that's a problem. No, my eyes make me sweet, but most people don't fuck with me. I don't make this easy for you. I don't make this easy for you. And now is the time between you and I. Get out of your head, step into my mind, be that easy for you. I could be that easy for you. Baby, I like to learn. How do you wanna feel? Tell me your fantasies as you discover me. Can I make this easy for you? I wanna make it easy for you. And it's not intentional, I'm not responsible. I never play the games, but if you're in my way, I don't make this easy for you. I won't be that easy for you. Everyone is an option, I don't think that's a problem. No, my eyes make me sweet, but most people don't fuck with me. I don't make this easy for you. I don't make this easy for you. And now get out of your head, step into my mind, be that easy for you. I could be that easy for you. And now's the time between you and I. Get out of your head, step into my mind, be that easy, be that easy, be that easy for you.
Sales is good for sales.
Yeah.
We're here right now. I'm excited. Excuse me. We're in the gallery, Galleria d'Arte right here, and I have two special guests. I have a guest that is in our community, and I first want to give our shout outs to Fibonacci Live, Fibonacci Radio. This is your boy Alchemis, and we are also want to give our shout outs to our crew, our staff members, which is Ruben, Terrence, our brand ambassadors, our artists. Check us out on thegalleriadearte.com and look at our events and all the different specials and the opportunities, event space, rentals, etc. But our main topic today is to get to the Wholey Granoly and introduce Aiyosha, which is our co-host for today. And we're hoping to see her face many, many times more. But we're gonna have a brief conversation with Aiyosha, and we're gonna talk about Chris Cziezak. And Chris, speak to the mic, Chris.
Hello,
Say what's
hello.
up.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Been in the gallery a few different times. We've been talking about doing an interview for quite some time, and no time like no time like now. I've got some things going on in the community. Ernest has been a upstanding member of the community and a business owner, and we've known each other for a long time. And I'm just happy to be here and talk about nutrition and food and a little bit of everything, probably.
And another special perspective is Aiyosha. And Aiyosha, tell us a little bit about you. And
Hello, I am Aiyosha. I'm a life coach. I met Ernest at the gym. We were working out and a conversation just sparked. And we're here. Somehow we ended up here and talking about everything.
I'll give the backdrop. Let me give the quick backdrop.
There you go.
On Chris and Aiyosha in our connection. As Chris said before, don't be fooled by Chris's smooth demeanor, his professionalism, which is second to none. Chris has a high level of ability to connect with all ranges of people. I knew Chris coming from the barbershop atmosphere back in the 90s, and he was making beats, you know, so this is way before your Vlads and your other people. Chris has been on it, you know, and to have that prestige, to continue to be a professional, to pursue that element of restaurant, which is like the hardest thing to do. It's one of the hardest games to really succeed in. And to see Chris be able to transition out of different forms and pivot and bring something to our community is nice. And Aiyosha, you can kind of see just when you look at her, Aiyosha has a twinkle in her eye, and we met at Lifetime. She's a fitness person, but she's a life coach. And that was the most intriguing thing that I really thought about her when we talked. But most of all, I called her one day and I said, you know, there's other skill sets, and people might have an interest in getting to know more about you. And I also think she's very appealing as far as what she presents, her questions. And that's why she's here now, because we're about to go in with our boy Chris, and we're going to start off with some basic questions. And Aiyosha, if you can kind of...
So many questions. I have nothing but questions for you. How are you today?
I'm doing excellent.
Very good. I had the pleasure of getting to know you a little bit before we started talking. We just met, and I think we've covered quite a few
We have.
bases here.
We have.
We were talking about your kids. You have 2 kids.
I do.
Beautiful
I do.
daughters.
2 beautiful daughters, 10 and 6, Sophia and Vivian, and a beautiful wife, Natalie. And yeah, I'm a family man. I love my family and do everything I can for them.
One thing that I absolutely loved that you said, that you're teaching your daughters business now. You are teaching them how you're doing this, why you're doing this, how it should be done, how to carry themselves, and they're 10 and 6.
Yeah, yeah. And
What inspired you to do that?
and it started before the business. I mean, the business is something they've been hearing about probably since they were 2 and 3 and 4, early on. But I think it started for me as I started to go on this personal growth journey and learning more from just anyone and everyone I can find, whether it be books or podcasts, entrepreneurs, doctors, people in, you know, top of their field, you know, through even TEDx talks. You know, I've listened to a ton of those, and at the earliest age, I'm speaking to them in a manner that of things that I'm learning. We talked about earlier, when you're learning so many new things and kind of becoming enlightened by all this great information that's out there, I want to share it with people. We talked about that. It's exciting. It feels good to share great knowledge with people. And I started with my kids, you know, and as a parent, it's our responsibility to prepare our children for greatness, you know, and love them and teach them. And I'm honored to be a father and be able to do that for them.
Is that something you grew up with? Were your parents were teaching you when you were young?
You know, generations change, right? I mean, I saw my dad working hard, doing whatever it took to provide for the family, you know. You know, my mom took care of us at the house. She cooked, she took care of the household. And together they were great parents, and I love them, and they really instilled a lot of great values in us. You know, they were immigrants from Poland, as we mentioned earlier, and they brought a lot of that old world values and culture and different things that poured into us, and we had a great childhood. That definitely, it's like, you know, you always want your kids maybe to go one step beyond you. So they gave us the energy and the love and the knowledge and the, you know, just seeing it. They always say,
stability.
You see what you see in your home is what you do first, especially as a child.
So that being said, I got a quick question. That was really, I'm just kind of hit me. So when you picked your menu, I want to get into Wholey Granoly for a second.
Yeah.
So I really want to, I'm just interested in something and kind of playing off the fact that, you know, you talked about your Polish background and, you know, and I think about his menu and I see grits on the menu, you know, and I see all these other types
Very international.
It's a very international menu.
It is.
You know, did you notice
Love
that about
that.
his menu?
Yeah, I glanced over it, yes.
And I thought that was, so was that more influence from the community out here? Or was that influence, because I know you talked earlier and you were just talking about that, you know, working your way around the wheel in the industry. So I think that sometimes when you're working your way around the industry, was it a fact that you kind of picked and plucked the good stuff? Or was it something that you wanted to present and maybe came from home? Or maybe there were staple moods with
Yeah.
dishes. You know what I mean? Like some dishes, they're a comfort. You know, you feel like, well, no, I want this at a certain time of day, or, you know, because I saw your menu and it's really, really.
And there's also a deeper reason why you have things that you have on your menu.
Right.
So, yeah, that's such a great question.
And for me, it started with being in a community that's so diverse as Bolingbrook, and learning from people of every culture, every background, every race, every religion, every, you know, and you know, I've had friends of every nationality in the community like this, and trying different foods, you know, as a person who's passionate about food, cooking different foods, searching out different recipes, and I think.
But you said something really smooth, and when you and Aiyosha was talking earlier, and you were just talking about how you love hospitality.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that, I think,
You said you love seeing people's face light up when they eat your food.
That's what you said,
Yeah.
an exact response.
And that was from my parents. Like, we were just born with that, like born into this family of hospitality and the Polish culture. You know, we throw parties, we cook way too much food, we have way too many drinks. And that's how we grew up.
Everybody
and, you know,
and their moms are invited.
Yeah, and we were like the earlier, you know, my parents came here earlier and some of their family came later, so everyone came to our house for a long time.
Yeah.
So we hosted uncles, aunts,
the hub.
everybody, and that's...
I bear witness to that. I had an event, there was a birthday event, it was a rental, and it was Polish and it was a Slavic group. And you talking about had a blast. I mean, the fine dining, you know, some of the things that I learned in the gallery and some of the techniques that I learned was actually from that group. And that it was that camaraderie, it was that family culture, you know, and that's why when you said Bolingbrook is that community that resonates diversity. It resonates, you know, so, you know, what's your handle so people can get in contact with you, the restaurant, the address?
So it's at Wholey Granoly, WHOLEY GRANOLY. So it's unorthodox in the spelling.
Yeah.
Wholey is kind of aligned with like whole foods, whole cleaner ingredients, whole grains.
I thought it was like holy moly, like
No.
just
Yeah,
kind of
me
play
too.
a word.
No,
Okay.
it goes into like whole foods, whole grains, natural. We do use a lot of clean ingredients, a lot of nutrient-dense ingredients. We make things from scratch. We really go as far as possible, as far as no preservatives, no high fructose corn syrups or refined sugars. The food is still delicious, and there's a lot of dishes that you're very familiar with, but they're just made so much better. And my friends make fun of me because I talk about clean cooking oils and how important that is. And we got into a lot of inflammation earlier.
Yes.
And that's something I learned a lot about through various sources is soybean oils and really low-grade cooking oils cause a lot of inflammation in your body.
So what's a good cooking oil?
So avocado oil is a really good one, you know.
You know what just came to my mind when you said that? Cha-ching! Why is it that healthy food is always so expensive? Because imagine cooking every single time with avocado oil and you're living on a budget.
Yeah. Well, the thing about it is, like, you don't need to use as much. That's another thing. People just dump oil in there.
They use it like it's vegetable oil.
You don't need to
butter.
do that. You just need like an ounce or two to saute something.
Because it doesn't dissipate.
Yeah.
It holds the temperature.
Yeah, or it's a high smoke point. It's a high temperature oil. You can also cut it with some olive oil.
Yes.
So that's what we use. We use grapeseed oil. We use an olive oil avocado oil blend. And yeah, we pay double what everyone else uses, this low quality soybean oils. But what I was also getting to is that inflammation from those oils lessens your ability to absorb nutrition from your food. So just by the nature of changing the oils, you're able to extract more nutrition from your food. So that was something I learned. It was very important to me. And it was funny because I had a chef help me kind of put some of my ideas to life here at Wholey Granoly.
And who was the chef? What's her name?
Her name was Chef Mariella. She worked with me in the past, but she's like, nobody cares about healthy oils. Nobody cares about that. I'm like, I care about that.
No, they care now. People
I
are
care, but
starting to care.
this was 6 months ago when we were just kind of like dialing in the menu, and that's fine. What I did find out is a lot of chefs don't know about cleaner, healthier oils, and it's not something on their radar because as I work for a food distribution company. I talk to chef and restaurateurs every day of my life, you know, for my job, and they just don't see the value in it, and it's okay.
But that's the stress in the industry. We were talking about the success rate in that industry is so hard to succeed that people start cutting corners,
Right.
and that's why we really wanted to compound this show and compound this topic with nutrition. And it's a great caveat on how you segue into discussing the topic nutrition today, and where you're talking about the different oils, and which is in retrospect similar to the glycemic reaction. What happens is there's a clog. Things aren't breaking down anymore. It's not equally yoked. Your body isn't in balance when it gets inflamed. So we're discussing some of the items that help a healthy diet, and we'll get to some of the things on this menu. But I did want to talk to you, and we discussed it. Like most people, as you know, don't even know how much protein to have. And that's what we're here to talk about too. You know what I mean?
I'm that girl.
We want you to chime in. Most people don't know what carbs do. We don't really understand some of the values of our hydration, macronutrients, and we wanted to just briefly go over that and close out with this segment. And I feel really honored, really, to have Chris here and to give a really close insight, because, you know, as me and you both talk, you know, we'll go off the forbidden path, and I'll get into some junk food. Every day is a you know.
It's a new day.
It's a free
Every
day.
day is a new day.
Right,
so if
right.
you make a mistake, you have tomorrow.
Yeah, we gotta bounce back. So
Right.
part of what I wanted to talk about was, first, we want to pick protein. As you know, as a restaurant owner, and as you in fitness, and we all know protein is important.
Yes.
What I did notice about your menu is you had an abundance and array of protein. It was clean protein, but you had the good stuff. You know, you had turkey, you had the meat substitute, you had this, I believe, some of the salmon.
We have salmon, we have shrimp, we have higher quality chicken.
Yes.
You know, our beef is filet mignon, so it's beef, but it's not fatty beef.
Yeah.
You get the beef flavor you want, but it's
You have that
and a
savor.
lot of that's supplemented with vegetables.
Yeah.
You know, like for instance, a Brazilian skillet, maybe something international you wouldn't see on a lot of menus. And
It's not gonna be a lot of vegetable in some type of.
We always try to incorporate something that has a high nutritional content. So you got to include vegetables in everything you eat, or fruits, or however you want to do it, and even herbs. You know, that's what I really like about the Brazilian, the chimichurri. You know, we use high quality oils to make our chimichurri from scratch, and a lot of times those herbs also help you absorb more nutrition, and they add flavor. And a chimichurri is just such a flavorful sauce with herbs and spices and garlic, and I like to put it on a lot of things. You know?
And guys, if you, I mean, first of all, it makes it real savory. You know, I'm not a meat eater like that, but it's the dressing. And even if you don't eat meat like myself, it's important to be able to match your protein content. Your protein content, you want 80% of your protein intake to match your body weight. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you want 80 grams of protein to incorporate, or to, that's the build muscle.
Yeah.
If you want to sustain a healthy diet, it's 50%. Like most animals in the wild, they match their body weight that are vegetarians. Elephants, gorillas, horses, cows, these animals match their body weight. They graze, and that's why they're so lean. But they're lean because they bring in the proper protein intake every day. So that's one of the things we want to kind of share here on Fibonacci Live, is that it's important for you to do a nice consumption of protein every day, because if you don't do that consumption of protein, then, like you said earlier, it's going to inhibit your ability to absorb and take good, make good use of the macro, micro, and the trace nutrients. And if you don't have the protein, you can't, it'll just get pushed through your body. As everybody say, you go to the vitamin shop, 70% of that stuff is not going to stick in your body.
So, question for you, as someone who doesn't eat meat, where do you get your protein as far as, you know, vegetables? I know there are some vegetables, different things that have
That's a
good
good
amount of protein, and then on top of that, wherever else. I'm just curious how you get your protein intake.
Yeah. First of all, there's two contexts. There's the type of protein. You have to have there's a complete protein. A complete protein has all the amino acids, which are the 9 basic amino acids. Leucine is one of the amino acids that you have to have that really locks it into a blockchain. A lot of proteins don't have leucine in it.
Right.
So it makes it a 50% protein value, which it makes it a dissolvable or less dissolvable protein when it's not a complete protein.
Right.
It's still productive, but it doesn't lock in and doesn't have that cellular that rebuilding process as it does, because it has to have that leucine.
Yeah.
So look that up.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the and I don't remember off the top, but there are certain plants.
There are, like,
certain,
you know, for instance, I think spinach, broccoli, but chia seeds are a complete protein.
Chia seeds has a lot of leucine.
I think there's a couple grains. Amaranth, I believe, is one.
There's
'Cause I got into like ancient grains and some of that for a while, and some of those are really good for you as far as complete protein.
Yeah, and it's not many. There's
a few.
It's not like you can go and but what happens is you also, if like me, I work out. Sometimes we're compromised in our diets and when we eat. So I would make sure that I have a BCAA. The BCAA has the leucine and it has the complete amino acids.
So what is BCAA?
It's a branch chain amino acids.
Okay.
So that's that
the
lock.
supplement.
Yeah, that's that lock. Because most things you're not going to get the leucine. If you're not going to get the leucine, you're not going to get the complete intake.
Full amount, yeah. For
so
sure.
so that's why it's good to go to a restaurant like you or like yours, Wholey Granoly, or to be involved with macro or micronutrients.
Yeah.
Micro and macronutrients are the nutrients that are important. They're the trace nutrients. They're trace minerals. If I touch her right there with some cyanide, it'll affect her, and it'll just be a drop. You know, that's what trace nutrients can do. Like you said, when you incorporate these trace nutrients, but we have no idea on the value of these trace nutrients. So what you have to do, guys, you have to go and you have to stop and find out what are the minerals, the herbs, and the nutrients that you need. There are filters that we have. Okay, we have our liver, our kidneys. So you want things that also propagate those filters. Burdock root, hawthorn root, you know, they're myrrca. You know what I mean? There are certain herbs that you want to take a liquid version of those herbs if you can. It dissolves in your body. We were talking about carbs. We have to watch the carbs. You have to watch. It's okay. And my secret, I love carbs. You know, me and Aiyosha, you know, we admitted it today. I love carbs, but what I do is I walk.
You walk off the carbs.
I walk off the carbs. When you go for a walk right after you eat, that's the best time to actually take the advantage of the caloric intake and the caloric deficit and the burn. Yeah. And that's when you can actually use carbs for what they're built for, which is fuel. The reason why they sit and turn into sugar, because we don't burn them off. Yeah. People think that protein is fuel. Protein isn't fuel. Protein is a muscle builder. Carbs are fuel. Right. Carbs is the wood to the fire. Yeah. So that's one thing that you guys we have to really be conscious of, is that carbs are necessary because it causes that glycemic reaction. It causes the whole metabolic chain reaction that creates some more testosterone for men. You know, but an overindulgence of it, like he said, it goes into inflammation. It goes into too much sugar, too much buildup, which creates mucus.
Is that something you take in consideration when you're making new dishes for the restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, we're always, you know, this has been well thought out, this menu, and again, like I mentioned earlier, it's just the tip of the iceberg, you know, but we definitely want to keep in mind just nutrient content in general. You know, you'll see a lot of superfoods on our menu. You know, we have a kind of this bowl section that's a little different than most restaurants, which really are like super nutrient dense, packed with, you know, superfoods. And there's actually a superfood bowl, and everything in there falls into that like top 20 superfood window. So nutrient content is always on our mind. And you know, as we grow and we open more stores and we have more resources, it's only going to get better. You know, there was something through the company I work with that I came across. We're partnering with this company that grows these lettuces or greens in warehouses hydroponically. But from what they're saying is these lettuces, because they're fed the right nutrients, are going to be like 100 to 200 times more nutrient dense than your average lettuce or green. So that's coming down the pipeline, because, you know, I've heard some things about our, you know, and we know our agriculture system in America is suspect. You know, the ground has been damaged so much, the pesticides, the chemicals, like it's just messed up. I heard from one nutritionist, they said, 1 carrot, to get the nutrition of 1 carrot our grandparents ate in the 1930s, 40s, whatever.
You probably have to eat 5.
100 carrots today
No.
to get the same nutrition out of 1 carrot back then.
Wow.
But you know what, that point, I'm glad you made that point, because that's why it's so important to go and check out your macro and your micronutrients. It's your zinc, your iron, magnesium. Magnesium is a synthesizer. Black pepper is an absorption material. So it's really important for us to really get the absorption of the materials.
Yeah.
I just found out maybe about 4 months ago that the sauna, 10 minutes of the sauna every day stretches your life out like 5 years. And I found out why, because it opens up the arteries and it allows the nutrients in your body to get absorbed and it pushes the toxins out. So, you know, there are different components to the nutrient game.
Yeah,
and I'm glad we had this dialogue and this conversation. I think it's really important because we're out there, we're eating a lot, and we really don't know until it's too late, until the doctor gives us a checkup, until we start finding out, okay, well, you're missing vitamin D. Vitamin D is a critical element. For women, vitamin C and D and magnesium and iron. Those are just, you know, from what I understand. And you guys do your research.
And you could look it up. You could look up foods, and that's why I have notebooks full of like, these ingredients have those vitamins, these berries, or this vegetable. And eventually we're looking to really roll out a smoothie program that's going to be targeted by hitting certain nutrients and feeding your body what you need. Or maybe it's anti-inflammatory, or maybe it feeds whatever it may feed. But there's a way to set ingredients together to fill those needs.
And to be a baseline analysis. And another thing, this is not a fix-it. These are healing agents. Healing is over a period of time. This is not medicine. So you're not going to just say, hey, you know what? I went to the vitamin shop, you know, my first round on my check, and I bought some stuff and I don't feel anything.
And it's not just food.
Yes.
It's so much more. It's your fitness. It's your mental health. Food is a part of it.
Well, where working out helps actually, and actually induce the properties in the foods that we eat. You know, so I really enjoyed our conversation. I enjoyed our topic.
So this is off topic, but you are all about health and eating healthy and keeping your body clean. I saw you smoking.
Yes.
But it was a vape. But it was a vape, though.
But I have to ask.
It's still not great, and I was a smoker up until 2 days ago. This is kind of my crutch right now to try to shake the cigarette smoking. It's been something that I've been struggling with for years and years and years, and it's a tough chemical to shake. And I was just happened to be listening to another podcast by some very smart doctor, and it just opened my eyes to just wanting to be better, you know, wanting more energy, and
another thing, cigarettes, nicotine, weed, you know, that depletes your nutrients.
It's crazy.
People don't know that.
I've heard the opposite. People smoke cigarettes so they have energy. Anytime I know somebody that smokes, they're like, I'm just so tired, I'm gonna go smoke a cigarette.
Well, because it's a nicotine, it's a drug, it's an inducer.
They do say nicotine does have some positive benefits. Maybe only a few, but I think overall, you know, for me, it was just continuing to be better about what I'm putting in my body. I focus so much on what I put in my brain by learning, constantly seeking out new information, reading books, listening to podcasts. Eating healthier, using better oils, eating more nutrition, eating more raw vegetables and fruits, and it was one of my biggest vices, and it's something I've been struggling with for a long time, and it was that line I drew in the sand 2 days ago, and you know, this is my crutch right now.
Is that also nicotine?
It is nicotine, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that you're gonna use that and then eventually get off of that as well?
He's basically, and I'm proud of you. You know, most people won't take the time to stop. We know that in our society. You know, that's one of the biggest addictions or the hardest thing to break is nicotine.
It is.
Sugar.
It is.
And sugar, actually. Sugar is number one. I think nicotine is number two.
I'm guilty of that. Sugar.
So I mean, I had to make that point that and that's what you said too. When you notice that smoking, it increases a heightened level of energy. That's mental. That's somebody that's anxiety ridden.
Temporary too. If anything, it's a momentary thing.
Yeah.
But
Really?
For me, it was probably more of a stress reliever.
Yes.
Yes. Going through a lot of difficult challenges through the build out of the restaurant, through various different things.
So I got a question. What about the infusion? Have you guys ever thought about that in the future? The THC, the infusion of foods.
I definitely would love to get into that.
That's going to be a big thing in the future.
THC.
Well, maybe not as much the THC, but like CBD.
CBD, I think.
Right. I'm like, wait,
but
everybody's
the
going to be high
THC is a
walking
big
around.
thing too. No, that's 100% a big thing as well.
No, THC
But
as well.
that's becoming a thing as well.
No.
Everybody's infusing THC into
And everything.
foods, and
Yeah, and what I found
know if
out
I
is
can hang.
it's less of the food and it's more of the liquid. It's more of the sauce.
Right.
It's
yeah.
the, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
the, it's more, they just kind of put that in it, so.
But I think CBD is definitely a great thing. I
Yeah,
mean, that is a natural medicine. It does so many things for your body. Again, I'm just constantly learning new things. I watched a documentary on CBD and the power and what it does to your body. Do some research. It's very powerful, and it has so many. There's so many receptors in your body, and CBD is like the plug to those receptors.
Wow.
And I'm telling you, if you just do a little bit of research, you'll find it's a very strong, it has very strong medicinal properties.
Well, we're going to be looking forward to your Wholey Granoly. Guys, we here with
I think
Chris
I'm going there
Cziezak.
for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm going tomorrow. I want to check it out. Yeah.
You should.
I haven't gone.
And would you tell the people your handle? Do you have a handle, email?
Yeah, well, I have Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Aiyosha Nadeem, AIYOSHA NADEEM. That's really it. That's everywhere. Snapchat, Facebook. I have a TikTok. I don't use it. I don't think I'm young enough for it. I'm trying to get into
it.
it.
For TikTok? You trying to?
I feel like I'm too sophisticated, but I'm trying to get into it. But yeah, it's mainly Instagram. That's the best way to get in touch with me.
This was a great
TikTok's
platform.
getting some bad rep right now. They're really saying, I think they're asking all the main platforms to take it off.
Oh yeah.
Why is
Because
that?
I believe
Because they have a different sensor value.
Well, I think it's Chinese owned, and they're
Yes.
saying that it's really, they're tapping into people's personal information.
Wow.
And they're gathering information on people. And we know now that data is the most valuable thing in the world,
Yes.
above oil, above everything else. And so, with all the turbulence in the world, and the turbulence between U.S. and China and Russia kind of partnering up a little bit, like
That's terrifying.
it's a difficult time we live in, and another thing I learned, there's a book called The Fourth Turning. It's really interesting, and I keep referring to Tony Robbins because he brings on so many really great guests, but search that out because it really goes into the cycles of history. And
What's the name of the book again?
The Fourth Turning.
The Fourth Turning.
Yeah,
Guys,
and
check
I
that
think
book
you'll
out.
find a lot of interesting, and it's, and they kind of break it down by like spring, summer, fall, and winter, like these
And it
100-year
recycles.
periods.
It recycles.
And the same generations just like flip.
Yeah.
And from what they're saying, we're in the winter right now. We're kind of in the bad time, and it's gonna probably still be going on for quite some time. So,
I actually want to read that book.
yeah, it's
Because
very
I thought it's
interesting.
getting better with, my generation, the younger generation. People are becoming more aware.
They
but
do.
we are becoming hypersensitive.
Well, it is.
And I
Your
think that's
generation.
kind of a
I think
downfall.
they were saying it could be, I believe, it'd be the hero generation. But think about where we are in the country and where we are in the world. Right now, we're more divided in this country than ever.
And then you have the quarter life crisis that has been clinically diagnosed in the last 10 years. Where
What is
by
that?
25, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be all
my
these
God,
great things.
yeah.
So most people that don't become the delusional aspect of themselves, they have breakdowns.
Yeah.
They're embarrassed. They've said all these things that they're going to be, and now you have to go out there and face the world, and there's nothing out there that signifies that you're going to achieve that.
But we've all done
You know what I
that.
mean?
We all, at some point,
Yeah,
I'm
but
going to
she
be
said
a
it was just
millionaire.
talking about
But she
it
said
right
it's the
now.
emotional level now, and it's the lack of men in some aspects that are interacting with some of the young males.
Yeah.
And then you still have that, the counterpart of the women that play a role. But I wanted to wrap this show up, man. I'm really excited. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hit the
Yeah.
subscribe button, please. The notification. Press like. We will be here in the next couple of weeks with our new topic. Another topic is going to be business IQ. So we're going to be talking about business IQ with Rashad Boone, Century 21. I want to thank you again, Chris. Check out Wholey Granoly. I'm going to be checking it out. She's going to be checking it out
tomorrow.
So hold her to it. Email her. Check her out.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out Fibonacci Live Inside the Gallery. This is your boy Alchemis. Peace. Shout out to Wordsmith. Shout out to all our supporters, the brand ambassadors. Thank you guys, the staff. Deuces.
Appreciate y'all.